How do you describe the NBA playoffs thus far? First of all, welcome to another edition of the Unscripted 101 podcast, playoff edition, NBA playoff edition. So far, the NBA playoffs have been good. You can hate all you want. You can make your comments. You could be a fanboy, fangirl. You could be one of those media analysts who just wants to say whatever. But for the most part, I think most of the media, some social media people can agree and have been honest about it. It's been a very good NBA playoffs, but at the same time, there's been a lot of strange. Minnesota and Golden State right now is tied at 1. We all know what happened to Steph. Steph's got the hamstring injury. He's out for a week, possibly more. They still won game 1. Again, Minnesota up and down has been like that for the last 4 or 5 years, and it's just been, what's going on? And Golden State finds a way. I mean, they got Draymond, who's the lone championship, 4-time champion experience on that team without Steph. You got Jimmy Butler, who's been to the finals twice in the last, 4 years? And you got Buddy Hield, who now has an opportunity to do something. He was drafted from Oklahoma to be something. I think his career average is about 15 points a game. He's all right, but there's so much more that he can do. But again, the expectations that the media and all the other outlets have put on this guy, it's unrealistic. And we've been doing that. Well, not myself, but the media and the social mediaites and the rest of the people out there have put so much pressure on these kids the last few years. It's been crazy. Preposterous is the word to use. You're not going to get generational talent out of these guys now. And it's not a disrespect. And when I say generational talent, you're not going to find LeBrons. You're not going to find Jordans. You're not going to find a Scottie Pippen. You're not going to find a Dennis Rodman or a KG or a Joe Dumars. You're not going to find that. These guys are different. I think in this NBA era, we have to understand that these guys are going to be different. Now, are there going to be gems coming out of this going into the Hall of Fame? For sure. The Jason Tatums, the Jaylen Browns. There's going to be a few Hall of Famers that we're going to recognize. But for the most part, and I'm not saying the older generation is greater and better. Right now it is. But this generation is the most athletic, most gifted I've ever seen as a whole. So that series is going to be interesting. Does Minnesota want it? Are they looking at this as an opportunity to win with Steph not being there? Or are they just there? Because Golden State could easily run away with this series. Series is tied at 1. Cleveland and Indiana, another one. Couple of guys missing. Garland is the one that everybody's kind of going after. Indy going in there and going up 2-0, taking charge of that series pretty much. Garland, a lot of people are saying Garland's kind of just whatever, not really serious, and now he's sitting out. It's his choice. This is the NBA playoffs. We could sit here and we can grind on him, gripe on him, give him a hard time, and say whatever we want to say about him, but it's his choice. We know, and most of the generational fans know, that if this was the 90s, he was playing. We wouldn't even know about his injury. And even if we did, we know he was going to play, especially with your team down 1-0 at the time. I think, if I'm correct, Donovan Mitchell had like 40 plus in that game. That's game 2. And they still lost. Of course, Halliburton with his with his clutch free throws to win the game. Again, Indiana's up 2-0. Can they close out that series? Are they looking at this as an opportunity? Because Cleveland can go in there and take 2 road games. This is a different NBA. So it's not over yet. So we'll see what happens in that series. The next one, again, Denver Nuggets. 2 years passed from their championship. SGA and the boys in OKC tied at 1. it could easily be Oklahoma 2-0. Automatically be 2-0. A blunder, inexperience in game one, and Denver walks out with that game. That's inexperience. But again, championship experience. People don't believe in that. Ladies and gentlemen, that is facts. Experience matters. And if you don't believe me, just go look at the greats in sports. Look at not just the greats, the most consistent in sports. Sometimes you don't have to be a legend. You just have to be consistent. When you're consistent with your play on the court, you're going to be recognized. Effort, you're going to be recognized. And in this series, the mistakes that OKC made, Denver took advantage of it and won the game. A couple missed free throws in the clutch, a bunch of other crazy things. Took game one. SGA came back with the boys and they took game two. Oklahoma, as I said, this playoffs is going to be a learning experience for Oklahoma. They're going to get by. They're going to get through. I picked them to win this series, but this is the series that they need to get to the next level. You got to beat a juggernaut of a team like Denver who knows how to get there, who knows how to win. This is the game that they need, not just a game, but series that they need. So it's going to be a great series. SGA, Jokic, the two best players right now. Some people say Jokic has taken the MVP from him. Obviously, I think SGA, my guy, is going to be the MVP. He should be, but we'll see how that series goes. Fourth and final series, one of the most interesting, compelling series I've ever seen. And I'm not saying that as a Knicks fan. I'm saying that as a basketball fan. The team is up 20 points plus in both games, loses both games, one in overtime, one in regulation. Both times Mikal Bridges is involved in the game dramatics, the whole dynamics of the game-ending plays. Both times the Knicks grind. Thibodeau, classic Thibodeau-style basketball. You got the Villanova guys, you got Cat, you got OG, just finding a way. And sometimes the NBA playoffs is finding a way. As ask the Houston Rockets, the 94-95 Rockets. They found a way. This Knicks team reminds me a little bit about them, but they also remind me of a classic NBA 90s style basketball team. The 90s basketball playoffs were grinds. Both teams grinded. Even if the team lost 4-1, that team grinded in those 5 games. They didn't get blown out. This Knicks team finds a way. And I'm telling you, I did pick my Knicks to win this series in 7 games, but I didn't expect this to happen for Boston. And now over to Boston's end, taking all those threes. Jason Tatum scoring 13 points in game 2, while Mikal Bridges scored 14 in the second half of game 2. Scored more than him and did it all in the second half. Jaylen Brown kind of missing. Porzingis always injured or hurt. I've never been a Porzingis fan. I mean, I'm a Knicks fan. We know how we drafted him, but he's never been consistent in terms of being on the court. There's a lot of factors right now with this Boston team. Al Horford is 40 years old. We gotta realize he's 40. 40 being 40. My takeaway from this series is the Knicks have taken advantage of Boston's mistakes. Boston's taking way too many threes. The Knicks are going to the basket. The Knicks are playing traditional basketball. What is traditional basketball? Going to the going to the hoop, getting fouls, getting calls, making the game interesting, putting pressure on Boston. Did you guys see Boston's fans? They were not comfortable with this game. They were not comfortable with the first 2 games. Crowd energy matters. If you're a basketball guy and you understand the mechanics and the psychology of basketball, the crowd was very, very nervous, especially in midway in the third quarter in game 1. You could see they're not 100% sure about this game. They weren't in game 2 either. And this Boston team, historically, the last 4 or 5 years, the mishap when they had Kyrie against Cleveland in game 7, the mishap when they came back against the Heat to tie the series to go to 7 and then lose to the Heat. losing to Golden State in the finals, finally getting it done against a weak defensive Dallas team. And now this Boston team historically, and then of course the Ime Udoka foolishness and just a bevy of things. This Boston team has been on a roller coaster ride. Now, if they can get through this series, I would not be surprised. But this is going to be a difficult road for them to win. And some people have said they're not going to be considered one of the greatest teams and Jason Tatum and all this. I'll say this. I still believe in my Knicks. I think that my Knicks are going to lose. They might lose tomorrow. Boston's not going in the way. So we need to calm down. This will go 7 games. My Knicks are 5-0 on the road, which is historical. And I think by a combined differential of 10 points, 3, 1, 2, 3, like that's the differential of how they win the games. 10 points, 5-0 on the road, which is historical. So credit where credit is due to them. But to Boston, we got to stop with Jason Tatum being a great superstar. I think he's a good player. He's not a great player. He wants to be the next Kobe. We got to take the Kobe conversation with him and separate them two. There's no comparisons. Some people have compared him to Paul George. Some people even tried to compare him to Scottie Pippen. Please don't do that. Jason Tatum is Jason Tatum. There's a reason why he is where he is. He did not win the MVP in the Eastern Conference Finals. He did not win playoff MVP in the finals. He's never won an MVP in the regular season, and I don't really care about MVPs in the regular season when it comes to him because he needs to lead the team. He's never been that guy, and I've never seen him play 80-plus games. So we got to stop that with Jason. Jason Tatum's a good player, guys, but there's something going on, and some people want to get personal with him, with his personal life, with what's her name that he's dating and whatever. No, let's stop that. Let's get into the mechanics of the game. He's been too inconsistent to be in that Kobe conversation. But if he could be consistent enough to help his team win, they'll be fine. They got a bevy of guys. They got a multitude of players. But there's a lot, and don't blame the coach. We got to stop. Don't blame Joe Mazzulla for that. Joe Mazzulla's a good coach. He really impresses me. He surprised me. I didn't think he was Ime Udoka, but he's just as good. So that tells you how good Ime Udoka's staff was when he was there, because Ime Udoka did what he could with that Houston team. Let's be honest. Forget the personal stuff. He did a good job, but just like Joe Mazzulla. Joe Mazzulla could only do so much. 2-0 Knicks so far, going into MSG tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be loud. It's going to be crazy. Boston's played in MSG. They know what to do. The Knicks know what they need to do. It's going to be a clash of the Titans. This is what playoff basketball is. And that's my quick take. Unscripted 101 NBA Playoff Edition, folks. Keep enjoying. Keep watching. This is a time to watch basketball. Enjoy the NBA playoffs. Respect. Good morning, good afternoon, good day, good night, wherever you are in the world. Respect. Peace.